are live. This is Generational Transformation episode 5. I've done this for 5 little 30-minute segments now. Can you believe that? So I have Kara, lovely Kara, with me, who I met 3 years ago on my journey with having a child. Oh my gosh. So I had a kid in my late 30s. And those of you out there that end up wanting to take this journey in your mid to late 30s, people will make you feel like you're a geriatric, and they'll call it geriatric pregnancy. And you'll think, oh my gosh, why did I do this? What am I doing? And I had never heard of a doula before. Fun fact. And my really good friend, Sarah Bear, I call her Sarah Bear. She is in Louisville, Kentucky. She's like, Keisha, calm down, and you need a doula. I'm like, what's a doula? I didn't tell her that I didn't know what a doula was. I went and Googled it. And then look who I found. I discovered someone who made things so much easier for me. So this is the lovely Kara. And please, if you don't mind, just tell us who you are, what you specialize in, and then I'm going to throw a bunch of questions at you.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so my name is Kara Crow. I am a certified birth doula of over 20 years. I'm a certified postpartum doula, and I mostly take care of babies at night in that fashion. I am a certified lactation consultant and a lot of other things, but that's mostly what I specialize in.
I love it. And a lot of people may not know that those things just all go together. I mean, Kara, she's like, I just need to say this. When I first interviewed Kara, because obviously you want to get to know the person that's going to be in that intimate space with you, which it was during COVID. So I didn't really get a chance to ever see Kara in person, which was almost like a blessing on the one regards where you're like, who's going to be in the hotel room or in the hospital room? Is it going to be my parents? Is it going to be his parents? Is it going to be a doula? Is it going to just be oh my gosh. Well, COVID made it super easy. It was just my husband. No offense, Kara. But I was telling Kara when I first was meeting with her and she was going through all of the lots of questions that I had. Excuse me. And I was like, well, like what? She's like, here's what I think is going to happen. You're going to go into labor here. You're going to call me at 2 a.m. when you're in labor about to have the baby, and you're going to ask a question, and then you're going to do fine. And I was like thinking in my head, yeah, right. How does she know all this? Guess what? You were spot on every single thing. And this resource that she gave me, I still have it. It's a 1 sheet. Actually, it's a 2 sheet. I kept seeing that in my mind. I kept telling my husband whenever I kept thinking, I think I'm in labor. I don't know if I'm in labor. I think these are contractions. I don't know. But the sheet that she gave me and the conversation about this 1 sheet, I was like, oh my God, it is. You can't even put a price on it because it was worth so much. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to tell everyone about a doula if they're going to go this route of having a baby. It's amazing. So Kara, like, why in the world did you choose this path? Can you share?
Oh, yes. And I continue to choose this path. Gosh, because it's been a long journey. It has changed. I have changed within it. So I was a young mom, a little different than you, Keisha, but very green into the whole world of being a mom. Excited though. And my very wise older women in my life were like, you need a doula. And one of them was actually training to be a doula. So she helped me with my support in my pregnancy and also in childbirth. I like to say I kind of learned what not to do as a doula through her because she was kind of new. But I also learned, how much feminine wisdom comes into play in pregnancy and labor and beyond. So that experience was very positive for me in becoming a new mom with the women around me, including my doula. And I just was very, very called to kind of do for others the same way. So I became a volunteer doula immediately after, and my first birth was with my best friend 6 months later, helping her in her journey. So, and then I think as the years went on, I progressed into understanding how deeply the deep need for advocacy within the hospital framework, especially for moms that have a normal birth experience. And so that became my next passion. And I really fell into hospital work. And my inner lawyer came out, I would say, as being that advocate. So that's why I continue to do all hospital, home birth, birth center births. It's amazing. It's amazing to be a part of it all.
I love it. So tell us what a doula is for those that were like me, have no clue what a doula is or was.
Well, doula is designed to be a guide, in an educator, a support person in your pregnancy and your birth process. I mean, you could be a doula just for babies afterwards, but speaking to birth doulas, this is someone that's like a companion to the process and there for you and your support person if you have a partner or husband that is, joining. So it's for both, really.
Okay, so then somebody might think, well, I get that with my OBGYN. They tell me what I need to do and I just do what they say. What's the difference?
So doctors and midwives really are there for your medical care. And they don't have the time, nor usually the interest in truly holding your hand and walking you through it and being a part of the whole journey. So I think the difference is, well, number one, doulas don't provide medical care. We stay in our lane, which is, really emotional and physical support of the process. So we work collaboratively with doctors, but cannot take that place of your doctor or midwife.
I
Yeah.
love that explanation. So I I know personally from what I was told from an OBGYN and a midwife, and I've seen other people be informed of the same thing. I'm kind of going off script of what I wanted to ask you, but when someone is 39 weeks pregnant, actually before that, I think it was like 35 weeks pregnant. You always hear, "Okay, well, let's schedule your induction just in case because we don't want you going 40 weeks." Can you speak to that? Obviously, if it's a healthy pregnancy, because you can't, say, "Oh, well, medically, you might have to schedule it because of whatever." But if it's healthy scenario, you know that there are no other like red flags. When you hear someone say, "Well, my doctor told me that I need to schedule induction at 39 weeks because I don't need to go past 39 weeks." What do you say to that?
Um, I would say you might want to ask for the evidence-based research that backs that statement, because that could be an interesting conversation without it or with it, if they can find it. So I always like to empower my clients to ask their doctors to really explain and back up their opinions, and not just to be a casual, oh yeah, let's just follow anything my doctor says. You're an intelligent woman. Empower yourself with as much information as you can get regarding like these options you have. And yeah, there are studies that suggest that a 39-week induction in a low risk pregnancy can lead to healthy outcomes. However, it's just one study and it has a lot of different caveats and things you have to give up perhaps in your birth journey to go along with that study. And for some women, they don't want that. They want to have a different experience than just a medicalized induction. And
Love that.
not and it certainly does not mean that you cannot have a healthy experience if you are not induced at 39 weeks. So I think talking around it is really important. And I have to say, Keisha, like it's sad most doctors only have a 15-minute time slot for you when you go
Yeah.
to these appointments. And so it's almost like you're grabbing their ankles to keep them in the room to
Yeah.
explain further, and you have to be on it. So if you have a doula, speak with your doula before your appointments, and she might help prompt you into what questions to ask. what's relevant at that next appointment, what might be coming down the pike that you have to be ready for.
Yeah. When you just mentioned the 15-minute like time slot, I'm thinking fast forward to you're my 3-year-old. It's nap time.
Oh.
Or I should say bedtime rather. So in the delivery room, that you know where I'm going with this. Well, we need to schedule a cesarean. We need to schedule, we need to get the baby out now. It's almost like it makes me think, oh, well, they're a business. They gotta turn and go. Get the baby out, get the next one in, get the baby out. So when you are working with someone and they're thankfully this was not my scenario, but I know that you've had experience where a doctor has said, "Hey, we need to get the baby out," but there's no other red flags that would cause a need to have a cesarean. What do you say to your clients or your moms to be in that scenario? I mean, if you're an advocate right there in the room or virtually, like how you were virtually an advocate for us at 2 a.m. when I was calling you in the middle of everything.
I mean, if a doctor is suggesting, it's really time to get the baby out. The first thing I ask is, can you please explain what the situation is? Is the baby in stress, or is the mom at risk right now? What are the concerns that are making this an urgent situation that now means now, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
birth is a process, a journey that can be very long. So why is all of a sudden the moment at hand so important to get the baby out? And then, unfortunately, if the doctor's response is this is an emergency, then I have nothing else I can advocate for. They need to do their job in an emergency. But if it's instead, well, you've been in labor 24 hours and your water's been broken and, you know, things are just not seem to be progressing right now, then we have a conversation. We have time to talk about these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. So, do you want to share like any kind of misconceptions around what you do that you think is important for people that are watching this to know about?
I think that from my ideas from talking with many women, some people think doulas are only for women who are having like a home birth or a unmedicated birth, meaning they're choosing no pain management, or they're not planning a cesarean delivery, and that's a misconception. I've been hired for all scenarios, um, and I think that's really important to know that a doula can help you advocate for your best birth possible and help you feel empowered in your moment as your birth unfolds, no matter which avenue you take. And even if you plan one and it switches to another, there's options. There's always options, and there's choices in the moment that the nurses and the doctors may not lay out as well for you as someone who has, attended labors tens of dozens of hundreds of times. So there's a true value in that. Even if you're resting in bed with an epidural for most of your labor, let's optimize your labor for a vaginal delivery. Let's keep you moving. Let's have specific movements to help this baby rotate and navigate the pelvis. Let's help you figure out the right dose of medication to safely and comfortably deliver your baby, but still achieve a vaginal delivery if that's your goal. Or what, we need to have a cesarean birth. Well, how do we create a family-friendly cesarean for you? How do we keep you guys connected as a family unit? Achieve some of the things that you wanted, like delayed cord clamping and skin to skin, and maybe even breastfeeding within the first hour. Having a doula will help keep everybody, I think, in my opinion, I think doulas help keep the medical team on their toes.
Love
And
it.
and they're good at their best behavior.
Yes, because we know the mom's going through it. We're not having a conversation. No, there's no well, maybe if you have an epidural, I don't know. But I feel like you were the reason why I was able to go without medication and have a baby unmedicated. When everyone else around me was like, "You can't do it. You can't do it." And you hear all these people in your head and you almost start believing them because you sprain your ankle during your pregnancy and you can't even tolerate that kind of pain. So like, and that's what happened to me. So moving into the lactation part of it, you help the moms right then after birth. I'm assuming you help them with the latching, because you may have helped me during that time, but I wasn't even there. I mean, I was there, but I was like, I just had a baby. I'm not thinking anything. How do
Mhm.
you advocate in that regards? Because I don't remember the nurses having a ton of tips for me trying to breastfeed. But we were dealing with a tongue tie, and
Okay.
that's a whole nother episode, another time. But can you kind of walk us through really fast, like what you do with lactation? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I in my scope of practice personally, I am a lactation consultant, so I can introduce myself to the nursing team in that way, more than just being a birth doula. Um, but even as a birth doula, I was very comfortable with offering lactation support. And what that means is that the baby's born, everyone's really busy taking care of mom, her vitals, her recovery, getting her cleaned up and ready to rest with her baby. But I'm focused on, oh, what is the baby doing? Oh, the baby looks like, she needs to eat, or she's interested now. She's waking up and becoming alert for that. So I'm kind of helping prompt the mom, and get into a good place where she can initiate that first latch, which generally has questions and it's all very new and exciting. Sometimes we have to, advocate to keep the baby with mom so the baby's not, moved unnecessarily away. I mean, sometimes babies need help after birth, but
Right.
often they don't, and everything can really be done on mom. So I'm there to kind of also be a little bit of a guard to mom's experience with skin to skin in the first hour. Um, it's getting more normalized to keep moms and babies together, but I still see these situations where they try they try to remove them as a unit. And science and all of the research says, truly, if baby's doing well, the only place for the baby to be is on mom in that first hour.
Yeah. And I think
So
you talked about that with our plan even before. So it wasn't like you were teaching us right after the baby was here. We had already talked about that so that my
mhm.
husband could even say, "Hey, we're gonna do skin to skin for a little while." And so that was nice to know, because you have a sheet of paper that says your birth plan. I don't think anyone ever looked at that at the hospital, honestly. And
Well, yeah, that's too bad. I mean, honestly, I should have done a better job for you of that, because even on the phones, I remember talking with your nursing team. But
no,
um,
you did great talking to them, but I'm just saying, I maybe they did look at it,
mhm.
but I never saw any of the stuff. And I think I remember right away, they're like, "Okay, well, we're gonna do the hearing test and all the tests they have to do when a baby's out." But I remember, because you remember you were virtually, and I called you at like 2 a.m. when you had to reassure me all this was normal stuff.
Mhm.
But my husband did say, "No, we're gonna do skin to skin." So he had remembered, but I don't think, if we would have had that conversation with you, and if he would have remembered, I really don't know if they would have just said, "Oh, okay, why don't you go ahead and do skin to skin now?" Like,
Mhm.
I don't think that would have came about. And again, it's a business. I get it. They gotta help the next mom coming in that needs a room. Uh, but yeah, it was very reassuring to have that knowledge ahead of time, and to have at least my husband there as a support team. So, um, the doula service, the lactation service, can you kind of go over sleep and what you offer? Because we know sleep, that's a whole nother episode too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give it in a
Yeah.
nutshell? Just in a nutshell,
Mhm.
what you do and why people come to you for the need for these services, as far as sleep.
Okay. Yeah, I am a certified sleep consultant as well, and I've been really happy to work with several families this last year that we're struggling with just helping their baby or toddler independently sleep. And there's a misconception with sleep out there where people think, oh, sleep's all about being like a sleep Nazi, or like you may make the baby cry for hours on the. to the point where they're throwing up and everyone's terrorized. That's actually not necessarily the only way to sleep train. So I help families customize a plan that works for them within their comfort zone, but with teaching them really specific practices that will lead them to success so that their little one will learn independent sleep, whether it's through naps or overnight, sometimes both. And
Nice.
generally, what I do is I create a plan. They check, they sign off on the plan, they like it, and then I offer virtual support consistently for 2 weeks, where I'm at, I'm there to text with, and check in. We have a call ahead of this, and we have a call at the end once the completion of 2 weeks. So it's really wonderful. It's really accessible to anyone.
Good to know. I was just curious how I could see how everything you do just kind of goes along with each other without like so I love your passion. I know I can tell you have a passion for what you do. You have one story that comes to mind right away that you're just so proud of? And I know you have plenty, but if you had one that you could share, just one, I know you love all of them in their own, but could you just share one that you're just super excited about that popped in your head right away when I ask you that off guard? Like,
I know, man, you just put me through it. I mean, I have so many in my head. I always think about, women who are in a natural childbirth process, because I think we all are just completely amazed that women can do this, right? It's the most incredible gift that women have to give birth. And then when you see someone who is, in this intense labor experience, and she's struggling internally, vocally, we know it. She's just in it, and she can't wait to get out of it. And then I come into the picture. At this one particular family I worked with, they were having their second baby, and she had an epidural of her first, and I think she was really felt really disjointed her first labor because she didn't really know if she wanted an epidural, but she kind of needed one and resigned to it eventually. And really hated the whole experience with it and after. So for her, she felt very motivated to avoid it for her second one, to have a very different experience. So, but anyway, labor's hard, right? Like, she's in it this time. Labor is super hard. And I come in and she gives me this look, and she you like this, tell me that this is like almost over. Like help, SOS. And I just like put my hand on her back, and I spent 2-3 minutes with her. And I was like, it's time to go. Your baby's coming. Like, you're doing it. You're almost there. And it was as soon as I said that, I came into the picture, she was like finally like relaxed and breathed a bit. Her husband did too. It's like they took like this collective deep breath, right? Of like validation and like, thank God, it's time to go, We like this, they saw the light at the end of the tunnel at this point, because I think they had been really working hard. And so we get to the hospital, and I get her in a position I think she can handle. She seemed to like it enough, manage enough, which was her hands and knees. And her midwife comes in. She's like, okay, you can lay down and get checked. And I said, no, she's going to sit right here. She's good. She's working hard. This is what the position for her. And she looked at me and she's like, okay. Luckily, I knew this midwife, so I could speak kind of frankly with her. And that does help, actually, as doulas, as you get, more in place in your community, to be able to be more real and less walking on eggshells around medical people. Excuse me. But anyway, she got checked and she was like really close. She was like 9 centimeters. And I knew it. I was like, oh, this baby's coming. And then all of a sudden her water broke, and it was like, okay, it's baby time. And this wonderfully strong woman pushed so hard, and she was having a very big baby. We all knew it. And at some point, we did have to like try new positions. And then at one point she said, no, that's it. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do it. And I said, and so did her team around her, including her husband, like, you are doing this. You are, and like, we're here with you. You're going to do it. And after like a couple seconds of her doubt, which is really normal in labor, she pushed that baby out, and he was almost 11 pounds, you guys.
Oh, no.
She had no tears, no damage to her body because she just kind of had this like wonderful like reserve and patience. Almost like her doubt worked good for her because it helped her body stretch, I think. But I think of that as like she needed that, and she also needed her little, her people around her to encourage her on, including me and her husband. But yeah, it was a pretty phenomenal experience to see them.
Wow.
Um, Deliver almost an 11-pound baby, which I've seen several times in my career, but that one sticks out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that is a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. Um, one question when you mentioned water breaking, people I know always think this, like the movies, like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in labor, my water broke." Like it happens in 5 seconds. Have you ever, in the however many births that you have been a part of, ever had someone go into labor, have their water break, and have a baby all like in the movies, like in a 5-minute window?
No, no. I mean, gosh, labor number one is long. Even if you have a faster labor, it's too long for a movie to document. So no, it's not Hollywood. And generally, women are have a nice long, slow lead up in labor that's very calm and very boring before things really become drama oriented. So um, your water can break at any point in labor. Typically, it's more towards the end.
Okay. I only say that because the population that you serve, and you can we'll get all your resources, like your links and everything, and we'll put them in the comments below the video. But the DC area I know is what you serve primarily, correct?
I do go to Baltimore as well, so the DMV.
Okay, nice.
Mhm.
Well, I know one person specifically was like, "Well, do I go to this hospital or this hospital?" And I was like, "Do your research." I'm gonna always be like, "The hospital I was at was great," and they're like, "Well, I'm afraid that going across the bridge might be too much traffic when I go into labor." And I kind of chuckle. I'm like, "You got plenty of time to get there. You got plenty of time." But if you don't know, then you don't know. And I can understand that too if you're fearful of traffic trying to go from one hospital to another. But yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the average first baby takes 18 to 24 hours in labor. So, a second baby's a different story. Second babies can come a little quicker, but first time moms, yeah, you're lucky if you get under 12 hours in labor. That would be considered fast, and usually that's plenty of time to get close to your birthing place.
And every story is different, right? Taken away, like, even if Kara explains the one situation or I explain my one situation, every birthing story is unique because it is yours and it is the only story. That is it. There's not a duplicated story. It's your story. It's your birth, your baby.
Yeah, it is. It's a personal journey. It makes it so fascinating, right? And just wonderful to be a part of.
Yeah. And thanks to people like you that are offering this beautiful possibility. I cannot thank you enough, and I'm thanking you again. It's been 3 years later, and I'm like, "Yay. Thank you for taking time to have a conversation with me and spreading the information and awareness, and if people wanna get in touch with you, we'll put your info in the comments." Do you have any last words of, like, encouragement or anything you wanna throw out there to these parents or moms to be, or even people that are brand new parents? Maybe they need help with lactation or sleep or something like that. Anything?
Oh my gosh, how to narrow that down? I guess I always want to tell women, like, birth is normal, and don't let anyone make you feel like it's a medical event. It's actually a normal physiological experience, and you are designed to do it. You will deliver your baby. There won't be anyone who will deliver your baby. And in owning that and taking taking the helm is a gift if you can, get on board with that and get the support you need around that. But I think that's really important. And then breastfeeding is the number one food out there, breast milk for your baby. It will honestly, the health benefits to your own personal body are superior. Unbelievable the risks that you get to avoid in life, like cancer and heart disease and diabetes, if you breastfeed your baby. And then the health benefits to your baby. Oh my goodness.
And
Everything.
it was harder than delivering a baby for me. Breastfeeding is not always easy. It
No.
is work, and it will only take the people that are mentally strong enough to push through all of that. I'm just saying, and it's your own journey, but I want to put it out there because I hear so many people that are like, it didn't work out for us. It didn't work out for us. It's not like the movies either. It's not like, hey, put a baby on my boob. Oh, they're eating. They're doing so wonderful. No, they have to learn all those skills. And it took us 3 months of lots of blisters and pain and crying and weighing and 4 or 5 lactation specialists. You do stuff sometimes because you know that it's the right thing to do. Please don't let anyone try and talk you out of it. Again, we're not the doctor saying, hey, doctors don't know. Doctors, I mean,
Yeah. Unfortunately, you should know your pediatrician has only had a few hours in breastfeeding training.
Yeah.
And their entire, career as a doctor, unless they wanted to specialize in it, they really are not informed. So it's seek out lactation consultants, support groups, moms that have succeeded doing it, all those things. And I do believe that it does take a circle. It takes a village to challenge, to be around something that is challenging, to help create success. Because that's amazing, Keisha. I didn't even know that you had a 3-month challenge. That's a long time. I mean, a lot of women look at me when I'm there. How long am I going to be in this? And I usually have a sense, but 3 months. If I told them, hey, you're going to be in this for 3 months, I don't know if they would have stayed the course. So good for you.
Yeah. And okay, we're over our 30 minutes, but real quick, when you see a mom and hear a mom say, all right, I'm stopping right at 1 year, do you give any support? Obviously you're going to stick to what they want to do, but do you have any research that you're saying, why do you want to stop at 1 year? Can you say that real quick?
Yeah, there is research that documents that, babies' nutritional value from breast milk goes down after a year. However, there's still immune support, ways to help keep your baby healthy and your connection with your child wonderful and bonded. So there's no amazing reason to stop at 1 year. So it is a personal preference, but I do kind of stick to that.
Awesome. See, Kara, you have all this knowledge. People just need to find you and absorb it all to help their life, their journey, because there's so much to know. Kara is your girl. DMV. Wait, what's the acronym to include Baltimore?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think Baltimore is in the DMV because it's Maryland, but
True.
the District of Columbia. I do go to DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Some parts of Virginia.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're signing off. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And if you guys don't want to post down in the comments any questions, message me privately and I can connect you with Kara. Okay. Bye.